I just want to say a couple of things to the parties. Thank you very much, both sides. Once again, it's a tough decision before us, but I do appreciate, and maybe some of us don't agree with the way we each feel, but this is the democratic process. Just some things that I have found out over the past couple of weeks, particularly to the fire protection system, that seem to be the crux of some concern. I spoke with Chief McFadden, the fire chief from Holbrook, who would be the shift commander, the incident commander if something should happen. He informed me that he's already been in touch with the Division of Fire Services, and they've assigned an expert to work with Chief McFadden on any type of fire protection system. It's a new type of system, but it will be a very effective system. This was particularly drawn about due to the fact that the access was curtailed around the building with the new site plan, and that with the new fire suppression system that would be designed would handle anything that would assist the fire department by losing that access around the building. So I want to let the members know that that has been addressed already. The state's already on board with it, and Chief McFadden will be working with the Division of Fire Services to come up with a plan to present to the applicant.
I interrupt reluctantly, but I need to state or need to object and request that the hearing officer advise and confirm for the board that evidence is closed, that the hearing is closed, substantive portion of the hearing is closed, and that any assurances about information that has not been presented is not part of the body of evidence that the board is, on which the board is supposed to deliberate. Thank you.
I would suggest, Mr. Deutsch, that the information that was brought forth was incorrect. Was that there is a plan. Chief McFadden has the plan, and he will work with the Division of Fire Services to accomplish that plan. Now, I don't know why that's a problem.
Mr. Chairman, the issue is whether that information was presented during the hearing when other parties would have a chance to question Chief McFadden or cross-examine whoever was addressing that issue in the hearing. I have to agree that the board could condition any approval on an acceptable new fire suppression system or something like that. I think they could have done that even if you hadn't spoken to the chief yet. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the board should consider whatever the chief may have said about work that he's done with the state or what the new system would be. It's just the other parties didn't have a crack at any of that information.
Well, I mean, I did that on my own. I went out and I researched that on my own, Mr. Hearing Officer. So I think
that's not. That may not be a virtue in this context.
Yeah, Paul, you bring your life experience to this board. There's no question about it, and you're entitled to do that. You're also entitled to give whatever weight you think it should be, given the testimony that we heard here. But we have to remain within the four corners of the testimony and evidence that was presented in this hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't strike it because it wasn't evidence that I could strike, but I would suggest to the board, subject to town council's advice, that the board should not rely on that information in its decision.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes?
I'd like to move that member of the Board of Health be disqualified from further participating in these events because he has obtained information outside the record, and it's clear from his remarks that he's going to be relying on it, whether or not you give the instruction to the rest of the board. Therefore, we believe he's required to step aside.
I'm not going to do that. I understand the concern. A juror who goes out and looks at the accident scene, him or herself, could be struck from the jury. I'm not going to take that dramatic a step here, where this is just one of the issues before the board. And if I suggest, as I have to the board, both the chair who obtained the information and the other two members who've now heard some of it, that information really should be ignored for purposes of your decision. I trust the board will follow that suggestion. Your rights on that are, of course, preserved.
Essentially, it's a mistrial. but we
I've
preserve our.
I've denied your motion, but your rights are preserved.
Mr. DeLuca,